getting into the centres, this is an interesting one. This is a position going back a couple of years that we'd all, Warriors fans, when you go, who would you recruit? Oh, we need a strike centre. We need a decent centre. Our centres are, our weakness. So far
We
this
need
year,
a centre at one point.
Yeah, yeah, right. Adam Pompey, Rocco Berry, Alila Toa, Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, and Graham Tolfa in NRL. And I've put his name down here, even though I'm not sure if he ended up playing any cup. I know he played a couple of games in Jersey Flegg before he got injured, but is in the on a development contract is Patrick Moimoi. Not tall, but a very solidly built young man who I believe he was mentioned as having a standout off season. Quinlan Tupou, ex-rugby player. I think he was in the Chiefs system. He's come across and been in and out a little bit there. Kailis Fatialofa, and again, Compton has played in the centres as well. So, who do you feel like, again, naming your 17 tomorrow, if we were playing and everyone's available, who's playing on the centres for you for the first grade?
Yeah, given the injuries, obviously with Roger not
Imagine there's no
expected.
injuries. Everyone was
Okay, no
free and
injuries.
available.
If there's no injuries, probably you've probably got to stick with Roger and Rocco. Geez, I sound boring. I think those two they've shown enough, and I feel like they've got a heck of a lot more to offer as well. And I feel like a lot of the team's sort of symptoms have maybe potentially held them back a little bit from really expressing who they are fully. Even Rocco
Well,
obviously he's had a wonderful season, but there's still more to come, I think, from both of them.
when you say that, what do you think's happened inside them that's made it a challenge for our centres this year?
I just feel like I feel as though our attacking flow has not been conducive to letting either of them really shine. And I don't think, personally, I just don't think we possibly use guys or play to their strengths as much as we could. If I was, if I was in charge, I'd be putting a lot of high kicks straight towards Rocco, and that's not for him to go and try and tackle a guy. That's for him to go up and compete, goal line sort of stuff, aerial stuff. The kind of stuff that we never did for David Fusitor back in the days.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess that whole disruptive rules kind of put us in a little bit in two minds, and I think that's why a lot of people complain about Rocco not contesting more. Is we don't be what it's all about. Let's pin them down and let's wear them out and grind them out in a Penrith type way. And that disruptor is almost a 50-50 call of giving away a penalty. You do the work to get a good kick in, you pin them 2 meters off their line, but you call it a disruptor and they get out of there. Yeah, it's interesting. I felt like, honestly, Webby showed his hand a little there by, like I said, I don't know did he drop Montoya? And as a result, to fill that hole, he felt it better to move RTS to the wing and bring Pompey in, or did they accept that maybe RTS hadn't progressed as much as they'd hoped at centre and acknowledged that Pompey would do a better job and moved Roger to the wing to perhaps give him a little bit more space? That would be my only question there, because I think a lot of people don't recognise Rocco's fundamentals, but leading the NRL in individual tackles made by a long way, his ability to position players around him. If you actually slow it down, you watch those little micro movements where he straightens up to give Devlin that extra metre to score in the corner. Now, he doesn't score, 22 or 24 tries um, without Rocco's, positioning there. So I think he's a lock. And I think Adam Pompey's, he's a strange one because he matches anyone on the day. He very rarely gets completely outplayed by the biggest centres in the game, but at the same time, he never dominates them, which I
Mm.
think fans are just wanting one of our centres to be that, Latrell Mitchell in State of Origin kind of guy. And they were hoping that Roger would be that, but he's kind of struggled to really create. I feel like he's a natural runner. And I feel like our biggest symptom that's caused our centres to struggle is the lateral ball.
Mm. Yep.
SJ's got really sideways, and as soon as your halfback's drifting, Tamati Martin's getting the ball sideways, and he wasn't
Yep.
able to straighten up. So by the time the centres were getting the ball, they had nowhere to go. That's
Yep.
why they're having to take the tackle so often. Yes, it'll be a really interesting question that will be answered come round 17 if everyone stays safe. That's how Roger must have done a good hammy just to be out that long. Guys, so we've got Moi Moi. Did you see any of him this year?
Yeah, saw a little bit. Saw a little bit of him.
How was he
But
looking? He
yeah,
looked
not
good to me in SG Ball last year, but I haven't seen him play much
yeah.
this year.
Yeah, I think he probably was more of a standout last year than he would have been this year. But yeah, it's something to keep an eye on. It's sort of it can be hard to tell with limited sort of footage on them, but he's got some promise for sure.
He's done. I think he must have done an ACL or something. I'm pretty sure he's gone for the season. I've seen him in like full leg brace for ages. So,
Yeah.
um, how about you've got Tupou Fatialofa and Failtima?
For Timo.
Fualtima, yeah. Dyslexic, but I read the A before the U. Um, any of those three guys sort of standing out? I haven't really noticed them in the games I've watched, which kind of gives me an indication that maybe they're not, the next big thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean Dubol and for Timo haven't their playing time has been quite sporadic. Fatialofa as well. I think they probably he's played a lot more edge forward rather than centre, so that's possibly why he's not seen as much of a centre at this point. Not saying he couldn't do it, but probably projected to play more on the forwards. Actually, another name I'd like to probably throw in there. He's been playing he played SG Ball and Jersey Flag recently. That is Ngana Tatafu Vake. He's a strongly built centre, and he's got a real nose for the try line as well. He's been one that he just keeps popping up in the highlights. I'm like, this guy, he's got something about him. So I'd probably throw him into the mix as well, just as a bit of a smoky.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're looking at the guys that have been playing a lot of time in Cup, just a guy who we sort of haven't mentioned as much because he's played that one game in first grade was Myla Graham Tolfa. I thought he was outstanding in the trial. Just looked like he was meant to be there. And again, other than a couple of defensive reads on that game he made his debut, I thought he showed some real explosive speed off the line, probably more so than any of our current centres. What's your take on him?
Oh mate, I'm a big fan of MGT. He's very consistent with what he does. Playing in the New South Wales Cup team, I've seen a lot of him playing for that side, and every time I've watched him play, he's just got a real class factor about him. And yeah, I'm excited to see what his sort of potential would be if we run into an odd injury, even more injuries to come. If he gets more of an extended kind of opportunity to try and impress and show what he's got, I think he would actually do a really good job. And he's just got a little bit of sneaky kind of match winning kind of ability about him. I did like there was a little play,
But it doesn't
in the
it's
NRL
not one of
game.
those guys that exudes it, right? He just he
Yeah,
looks like
he
he's a
doesn't
bit
jump
of
out
a
at you.
it's a rude way to say it. Like, it looks like a bit of a journeyman at times, but then all of a sudden he would
Yeah.
just go boom. So he is sneaky good.
Oh yeah, yeah. He's one of those ones, just sort of the undercover ones, like
Yeah,
watch
yeah,
out for them. And I remember he did a little chip kick sort of in the Dolphins game. Just I hadn't even seen him do anything like that before, but that's the kind of thing that he can just do
yeah.
off the cuff and throw it in there, and all of a sudden it can turn a match. And so yeah, I'm excited for him. Eh?
I think probably the benefit you see with Pompey and Rocco is they're both bloody tall boys. MGT not so tall, but just a final quick name to throw amongst the names here is that signing of that young fella Kahu something or other. You're
Ah,
a real
yes,
prodigy centre by the looks a bit like Joseph Suali. Um, trying to struggle now. I can see a picture of him, but trying to remember his last name. He sounds like a um, real gun in the making there, and a lot of people in the rugby circles weren't overly happy that the Warriors managed to grab him. So watch
Kappa,
out,
bro.
watch out for
Kahu Kappa is the one.
Cape. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
he's got a real long frame and some really good footwork to go with it, which is not the type of combination you normally expect from someone. So he'll be an exciting one to watch when he comes in.
Yeah, but again, depth personified there.